So what we're going to look at next here is the vertebrae. So the vertebrae that we're looking at here is called a cervical vertebrae. And how we know it's a cervical vertebrae is that its back process here is fairly parallel, but what really gives it away are these holes that we see on the sides. Only cervical vertebrae have these holes. Now there are two specific types of cervical vertebrae. This is the first vertebrae, and this is called the atlas. So this is the atlas. Like all cervical vertebrae, they have those holes on the sides. Our atlas is what we use to hold up our skull. So this is the atlas. In the second vertebrae, this is the second cervical vertebrae, and this one is called the axis. Once again, we know it's cervical because it has those holes on the sides. So the atlas fits on top of the axis like so, and when we turn our head, it's the atlas moving against the axis. The axis is distinguished by having this structure right here that projects up. That structure is called the dens. And so this is the axis with a dens. The next group of vertebrae are the thoracic vertebrae. This is a thoracic vertebrae. It is distinguished by having this, which is called the spinous process, that projects downward. And so we see the difference between the thoracic vertebrae versus a cervical. Also, what you're seeing in difference here is that whereas the cervical vertebrae have holes on the sides, the thoracic does not. The last one, in the lower part of our back, is made up of the lumbar vertebrae. They have a very large base here, and if we look at it on the side here, you see they kind of have that blunted process, all right, and it is fairly parallel. I like to say that the cervical vertebrae resemble dachshunds, that the thoracic vertebrae resemble giraffes, and that the lumbar vertebrae resemble a moose.